Everybody, welcome to another Leadership Minute. It's Dave Johnson. Sometimes in leadership, what you say isn't shaped by what you said as much as when and where you said it. Sometimes it's an encouraging word after a failure or misstep, or lifting up a friend after a disastrous failure, or just standing beside a teammate when no one else does. These acts speak far more than words from a platform or letters in a memo. They're leadership in action, redemption when it's needed most. Jesus demonstrated this in one of the most overlooked details in the resurrection story. And it sets the example for every leader that follows, because it isn't just what Jesus said in the story, it's also where he said it. In John 18, Peter is standing around a charcoal fire. Jesus has been arrested. Peter had just shown his bravery and brashness and volatility by cutting off the ear of one of the guards who came to arrest Jesus. Then, as Jesus stands in front of his accusers, 3 different people ask Peter if he knows Jesus. And Peter lied, denied, and tried to hide. Because 3 times Peter says, I don't know him. Even curses to prove the point. And then, just as Jesus had predicted, the rooster crows. Peter locks eyes with Jesus. And the Bible tells us that Peter went away and wept bitterly. Imagine the shame. Imagine the regret, the humiliation. He had just said he would never leave him, because Peter had boldly declared, even if everyone else falls away, I never will. Yet, in just a few hours after he had said that, the strongest disciple had become the weakest. He had rebelled, failed, and nailed Jesus to the cross. But then comes the resurrection, the glory of Jesus alive again. Imagine the shame and the reluctance that Peter felt to face Jesus, the deep ache of his own betrayal and cowardice. But then something incredible happens. See, after the resurrection, Jesus meets the disciples by the Sea of Galilee. They're all out fishing. And just like at the beginning, he shows them how to fish, and their nets are overflowing. A restart, forgiveness, redemption. For Jesus lays the groundwork for total restoration. And then it gets real personal for Peter. See, there's another charcoal fire. The only other one mentioned in the New Testament. That's not an accident. See, Jesus recreated the place of Peter's greatest failure. Not to condemn him, but to redeem him. Because there were 3 denials. And for those 3 denials, Jesus asked 3 questions. Actually, the same question. Peter, do you love me? And 3 times Peter answers, yes, you know I love you, Lord. And 3 times Jesus says, feed my sheep. Jesus never ignored Peter's failure, but he did refuse to let Peter's failure define Peter's future. See, that's grace. And that's where that's what true leaders provide, a place of safety to try and fail with the knowledge that their leader is there to pick up the pieces, right the ship, and reset the course. But now, I'd like to go a little bit deeper into your life, because this lesson may be exactly what some of you need to hear today. Because some of us are still standing beside that first fire. We're replaying the mistake, living in the regrets, believing God can never use us again. But Jesus is inviting us to another fire. Not to remind us of who we were, but to remind us of whose we are. See, the cross paid for your failure long before you committed it. Jesus knows who you are. He knows who we are. The blood of Christ doesn't simply forgive your sin. It restores your purpose. Peter denied Christ, yet Peter preached at Pentecost. Peter failed publicly, yet God used him to found his church. Your greatest failure does not have to become your final chapter, no matter what it is, because Jesus still meets broken men around fires of grace. He forgives them. He restores them. And then he sends them back into the fray, back to the mission he always had for them. See, that's the kind of Savior we serve. Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals. It's Dave Johnson with the Leadership Minute. Now go make a difference.